great.
They're fantastic. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of The Rose Pill. Joining me today is Harry and Gladiv. I think I pronounced that right.
Harry and Gladiv.
Harry and Gladiv.
It. Yeah.
It's such an awkward name.
I know. I don't know why I chose it.
Is like, I mean, I've tried typing it in on like YouTube a couple of times, and I'll often kind of misspell it and won't actually find you at all. And I'm also joined by Discordia. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Mine's a bit easier to say.
So there's two kind of reasons for doing this live stream. First of all, just as a quick aside, yesterday my Discord server launched, which is Rose of Discord. And I want to give a big thank you to Discordia for really helping me set everything up. I mean, it was basically her jury rigging and also Scrump, who can't be with us tonight because he's working. So that's the second stream in a row he's had an excuse to get out of.
Oh, what a terrible person.
I know, like he's absolutely letting, with all of his obsessions with traps, and he just keeps letting me down.
Come on, Scrump. Pick it up, Scrump.
But more importantly, and this is something I've really wanted to talk about for quite a while, I'm sure a lot of you have been following what's been happening with a certain Yaniv individual in Canada. We actually are allowed to say this person's name because the reporting restrictions have been lifted. Just to kind of clarify a couple of things during the stream, I will not be using male pronouns when referring to this person because I don't want to get in trouble for misgendering, so I'm going to be using gender-neutral pronouns throughout. I should also point out that their legal name is Jessica Yaniv. That's apparently been confirmed. So I might call them Jessica Yaniv or Yaniv or JY. But that's basically who I'll be referring to. So for some of you who may not be aware, Yaniv became quite famous last year for trying to take a couple of different beauty salons to court for not waxing their genitals, which were male. They would message these beauty salons, ask them if they could do work on a woman, and then they would be like, "Oh, surprise, I have balls. Will you still do it?" And they were like, "No." And so, as any rational person would do, you would take them to court. This happened on about 15 or 16 occasions. I keep on forgetting the exact number, although I do know that one of them, the case was actually dropped after Yaniv's name was leaked, which was quite funny. I think that was mostly their own doing. But as funny as some of the situation can certainly sound, there is some quite serious things going on in the background as well. What we're finding is a lot of these women seem to be targeted for, some of them are racial reasons from the sounds of the transcripts, which we'll be going over. Yaniv is kind of doing this very much from where I'm sitting, almost as some sort of power play. And that they wanted this to be completely hidden from people is something which I find quite worrying. But thankfully, this has been lifted, so we can actually discuss it. And before I go into the tweets, just to comment, not many places have actually covered this story since it broke. I think I counted 1 or 2. I think they were just more kind of bloggy kind of websites. The likes of Gay Star News, Pink News, you would think that they would really run with this and carry it on because it's an LGBT story. It's about a poor oppressed trans women's. You would think that this would be right up their street, but they've ignored it. And the only time Jessica Yaniv has ever been discussed on these websites is when it relates to things like Meghan Murphy, where they're talking about how Yaniv is just an innocent victim in all of this. But which I find insane because, especially with this kind of court case, this has big ramifications. This is something everyone should be talking about. And for me, at least, this highlights the danger of gender being an open border. it just the idea that people can simply say they are something, that's it. Therefore, you have to treat me in this way. It doesn't matter whether you're okay with having like testicles, touching testicles or not. I say I am a woman, therefore touch my balls. It's really disturbing.
Yeah, this is bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than just, bake a gay cake.
Yeah, it's. I would say it's in a way. I would probably say it's bigger because a cake is just a cake.
Yeah.
You always make the argument with this, like the gay cakes, that it's just like a baking. It's the same kind of service that you would give anyone else. The only difference is just the message that you are writing on it.
Yeah.
And I'm one of these people where I do understand why people would have objections to it. I do think that people should have the free, like when it comes to something like that, they should have the freedom to be able to say they don't wish to do it. But with this, you are asking people, whether it's for cultural reasons, personal reasons, whatever, to perform a particular, I don't want to say procedure, I don't know, just waxing. Is there really any other way to say waxing?
No, not really.
It's just perform waxing on a pair of on male genitals, because the person who has the genitals attached to them says that they are now a woman. Like as a transsexual woman, before I had the surgery down there, I can't get over the idea of someone that like actually doing this.
It's really, really audacious.
It is. It's there's something. The whole thing doesn't sit right with me. Just the whole way in which they've pushed this, and the fact that they went to about 15 or 16 different places. I think there might have been about 18 in total. Some of them did actually agree to do it, but it's not clear whether Yaniv's balls remained unwaxed or not. I don't know whether they actually carried through with it. Like
you'd hope so after 18, wouldn't you?
You would think so. Well, you would think so after the first one said, yeah, we will wax it, and then probably they would get it waxed and realize that was an incredibly bad idea and never do it again. But I mean, I did it one thing before seeing the transcript, which is written up by someone whose Twitter handle is Going Like Elsie. I think I've put her Twitter handle in the description. I highly recommend people follow her because she's doing a lot of great work sitting in court, listening to this absolute troonery which is happening in front of, like, it's incredible. Like, in a way, I'm kind of a bit, I don't necessarily want to say jealous, but because the cringe would be unreal. Like,
she did mention at one point that she was like the only kind of press in there. Like,
yeah,
none of them were interested.
No, none of them are, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But something else interesting that she says is that she, like, there doesn't, considering Yaniv likes to make it out that they are a big name in the LGBTQIA++ community, there's nobody there supporting them except for their parents, which I think we can now safely say is Yaniv's mother. And that makes this a hell of a lot more awkward. And if you've not read any of these tweets, you're in for a treat, because fuck me. This is just special. Right, so let me do a screen share on this, and we will go through.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've not read these properly yet.
I had to read through the first and second one. The jaw kept dropping.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. So, is everyone seeing that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, great. So, and that being the case, let me bring up what the original thread is. So here is the first one. So the other ones are on a thread roll thingy, but for some reason it didn't work on the first one, and I'm not too sure why. So let's kind of go through it. First one is JYVBH. JYV Sikh woman who declined to provide genital waxing services to JY. Of note, defendant works out of her own home in which there are small children present.
Oh god.
That just kind of makes it worse, you know,
That's the-
being in a situation where you're essentially alone with a person that you don't know.
No,
You know, if that does, you know, start to go badly for whatever reason, you know, you're on your own in that situation.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, those kinds of like beauty. I had friends back home who did hairstyling. Like, I think that she would only work with women and small children.
Fair.
Like, I mean, when you do those kinds of things, I think it's quite, especially if it's in your own home. I think you really should have a lot more of a say as to who can come in and who can't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go in. There's quite a bit of background which I won't point out of us. As Discordia said, not a single member of the media was present to cover a case that has huge implications for balancing rights and perhaps making law in British Columbia. This is shameful. JY's parents are seated with JY and asked to move to the gallery. Defendant's husband leaves hearing as he'll be a witness. Right. So, yep. So Yaniv then adds their mum as a witness because they've been hospitalized for more than a week. And then that's denied because that has absolutely nothing to do with what happened. So I don't know what. So it's weird enough that the mum is there. And then they try to get mum involved in the case. And this gets even weirder. I'm not sure whether it's in this case or in another, but there are some very strange questions asked. And I've got to, you know, it's a little bit suspicious, like what's happening in the background. Opening statement should be around 5 minutes. Yaniv says statement is about 30 minutes. Like, what have you got to say? I wanted her to wax me balls. She didn't. I was upset. Well, let's see what Yaniv said. How important being a woman is to them. It's a very important thing. It's like, Jesus.
I'm not being fair, Jay. I'm not being funny, JY, but who cares how important being a woman is to you?
Yeah,
how is that relevant?
Well, that's it. Like, who cares? It's not even a case of, like, I mean, hell, I'm a tranny. I don't sit around thinking it's really important being a woman. It really, like, because there's more to me than that. Like, okay, I do run I know I run a YouTube channel where I discuss this stuff, but I feel like I have to because not enough people are talking about it. But outside of the likes of YouTube, the fact that I'm a tranner doesn't really come into my life all that much at all. Like, it doesn't, it's no place in my work, like all my friends groups and stuff. So it's just how important. Who really do either of you sit around thinking it's really important to be a man or to be a woman?
Yeah, every day.
No, I don't. Thank you for ruining my point, you jerk. So JY embodies femininity. Now I don't know whether any of you have seen a picture of JY. Let me Google the picture.
Am I gonna want to see JY? Oof. Which one is she?
I quite like this picture. So, like, if you can see there, those are supposed to be like breast forms, and that is just sloppy. That's sloppy.
She is the definition of sloppy seconds. Like, ugh. Oh,
but yeah.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's pre. Well, obviously it's pre.
Well, it's difficult to really say, and this kind of plays into a lot of this.
Yeah.
So as a child was girly and always prancing about.
Right.
Prancing, like,
I've skipped.
Oh, okay.
Kids tend to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it wasn't just a run; it was a prance. Was diagnosed
I was a girl, but I wouldn't say I was girly as a child.
I can say I didn't know a single person that pranced about as a kid.
I definitely don't know
the
anyone that
girls
would
didn't
describe it.
prance.
I
The
mean, you
boys
didn't know
didn't
Harry
prance.
Ann as a kid.
Like it's just
I bet he did some prancing.
like, well, this is the thing. Like girls and boys would run around. Like the girls didn't prance and the boys sprint or whatever. It was weird. Was diagnosed with gender dysphoria as a child, though was not called gender dysphoria back then. Can't remember exactly. I think it might have been. I think it might have been called gender dysphoria because I think that came in around the 80s. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I am quite suspicious because it's only
What were they
quite
diagnosed with?
like
Wasn't-
there was different basically there was different ways of wording it. But I'm not too sure what the original wording of it was. I can't quite remember. But either way, it would be very unlikely for a child to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Bear in mind that this would be like the early 90s. That kind of thing would probably be very, very rare. A lot of medical staff probably wouldn't know this. Certainly if you just go into a normal doctor or a normal therapist, like we're only really looking at it like recently where this would even come into play. I mean, we've gone from a period where someone like what's her name? There was Jazz Jennings. It's like someone like Jazz Jennings was kind of unique in that it was a child that was transitioning, and now we see that kind of thing exploding. Like, why wasn't Yaniv the original Jazz?
Yeah.
But has support and love of family. That's not really important.
It's nice though. It's nice to hear.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I have support and love of family as well. I think I should make a good point to mention it whenever I can.
That's really nice to hear.
So, has been suicidal and has overdosed. Okay, I don't know the full accuracy of that, but I do know a few weeks or months ago, Yaniv was it sounded very much like they were threatening suicide on Twitter. There was a couple of people, I can't remember her name, but she was actually, even though she is in the middle of having a big argument with Yaniv, was still trying to be very professional and try to talk them down. And Yaniv was just like, no, fuck you, I'm going to kill myself, which there's definitely something kind of going on.
No, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
That's it. Well, of course.
It's not overly relevant to the case, and you can't, bully people into doing something they're not comfortable with just because you feel that way. You need to get help.
Absolutely. So just to quickly read out super chat, Evil Moif, hi from Denmark, keep up the good work, Rose. Oh, thank you, I really appreciate it. Like, in fact, I'm actually going on holiday next week, so any kind of like super chats people can get so I can buy cocktails would be greatly appreciated.
Gonna waste
There's a bit of a lazy
plug.
How about that? Main cough. Uzeli is streaming, so here's my contribution. I'll watch later. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy Uzeli's stream and come back later. Again, thank you all. Thank you so much. So let's see what Yaniv is saying. Discusses standing up for self and how that benefits LGBT community. Yaniv hasn't really done anything for the LGBT community, and I'm not saying that as like a dig. When I did the Pillars of the Community video, I did try and look to see, well, what kind of activism have they done? And there's going to Langley town hall meetings asking for things like there should be an LGBT group set up for the county or that kind of area. And there was another one about tampon machines being put into bathrooms in primary schools. And there was they will occasionally wander up and say and put out these things, but it's not really activism because anyone can do that. Real activism would be actually trying to go out there and do something rather than just going to a meeting and suggesting. It seems a bit lazy.
I'm really confused as to why primary schools need tampons.
Because this is Jessica Yaniv. This, I will. I don't worry. I will be touching on this. This, for some reason, this comes up in this case. So, yeah, it genuinely does. So brace yourselves. So hates attention but has no regrets. Judging by Yaniv's attitudes on Twitter, I call skepticism on that. Yaniv says a lot of things which are clearly trying to draw attention to themselves. Has helped other suicidal people. If that's true,
good.
if that's true, that is a good thing. Yeah, that's a nice thing. Want to create change, be authentic self.
Cool.
Okay, you can be your authentic self so long as you're not enforcing your authentic self on other people. There should be no free pass for religion, so therefore you do want to enforce it on people.
But she does want a free pass for anything in the religion of LGBT.
Yeah, well, anything for their kind of like way of life, their ideology.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, this is why I always have, like, whenever I try and talk about the way in which I've transitioned and the way I would like people to present, I always talk about kind of like a social contract where I understand that, like, I can't go up to people and say I'm a woman, but you have to believe that I am a woman. I cannot do that, and I shouldn't have the right to do that. So what I do is I've transitioned and tried to make it as meaningful as possible, so I get treated the way I would like by society. That for me is important, and so that's basically what I aim for. Because if I want people to treat me in a certain way, I know that there's things which they are expecting, which I need to do. People like Yaniv, however, don't do that. It's just, I said this, that's it. And they just kind of steamroll into it. And the fact that Yaniv is openly saying there should be no free pass for religion, like, that kind of scares me, because that is kind of treating people's beliefs as something that they shouldn't be entitled to. And regardless of the religion, or whether you agree with said religion or not, you've got to allow people to have that choice. I mean, that's what I would consider a liberal position on this. I've got another 20 DKK from Evil Moif. Cheers, then. Thanks, love.
Nice.
So now we have this is the lawyer for the defendant saying the defendant doesn't hate JY. Defendant works exclusively from home with small children present. Case implicates protected characteristics of sex v gender identity. Sex is biological and separate from gender identity in British Columbia Human Rights Code. Gender identity is psychological, sex is biological. Waxing female and male genitals is different. Yes, it is. That is a very important distinction to make, because one is a set of testicles and the other is a vulva. Defendant has no experience waxing male genitals. Again, very important.
Yeah,
because there's different techniques which people need to have. Isn't comfortable waxing male genitals. Gee, how bigoted. Goes against defendant's religious beliefs. Yep, that should be taken into account. And defendant is not being asked to wax a gender identity.
Well, that's true.
What a way to put it.
It's quite a good way to put it. In a way, that is what JY is asking.
Yeah.
Like, my gender identity is woman. I'm woman. Wax me balls. Gender identity does not change physical genitals. Well, yeah.
True, yeah.
But this is important. JY presented as male with male name and appearance, and that is true. At the time, JY went through a very weird period. Sometimes it was they were Jessica, sometimes they were Jonathan. I know I shouldn't that name, but I have to kind of describe this. So they would kind of change between identities when it suited them. JY was using a male name for a very long time on Twitter. I believe it was only earlier this year that it actually changed to Jessica Yaniv. So that's been going on for quite a long time. And so in some of the messages that were sent to these beauticians, it was under Jonathan Yaniv. So they were being presented with a man in this. They that, but I think Yaniv was aware of what they were doing. I think that was almost intentional. JY had secret identity and presented as male, so definitely cannot be faulted for seeing JY as male. JY has made bad statements about immigrants, calling them dirty, unclean, and liars. Yeah.
This is mental.
Absolutely insane. JY has overt hostility to immigrants. Findings of discrimination will be equivalent to requiring defendant to provide intimate service and handle male genitals. And defense will have expert witness with 30 years experience discuss female v male waxing, because like the fact that you have to get an expert in to discuss something that's probably like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, Canada needs to sort its shit out.
That is insane. That's absolutely insane. Well, I mean, what I kind of love about this is there's a couple of these where basically it is just I think Yaniv is just representing themselves in this. So it's like one troon feel like actual lawyers and it's they like, you know, they get witnesses in, they get like experts in, and Yaniv just feels like that's literally it. So, end of opening statements. There was a brief interruption in hearing because Yaniv's parents tried to pass JY a note and was told this is not allowed. That's
I wonder.
brilliant.
Do we know what that note said, or
No idea?
Okay.
It's probably like this is embarrassing. Okay, let's see. So there's just quick talking about the public ban. Testimony is supposed to be about facts. JY, here we go. Testimony is supposed to be about facts. JY really struggled with this and made statements that were not relevant to the situation and tried to make arguments. The tribunal member was very patient and asked JY questions to draw out the facts. JY also interrupted others throughout the hearing and was repeatedly cautioned by the tribunal member. To be fair, others also interrupted, but JY was the main source of interruptions. Testimony is the part when the two sides can present evidence. It doesn't surprise me that JY was constantly barging in like that. The public doesn't get copies of the exhibits, so I will describe them. Then Yaniv is sworn in. Let's see what evidence Yaniv is providing.
Let's go.
JY starts by reading a statement. It is a message JY says they received supposedly from Nazis telling JY that they are now such a leader in the LGBT community that the Nazis have switched their target to JY. Jesus.
What has that got to do with anything?
Like, that escalated.
I tried to find the picture before, but I couldn't find it. I've seen it, and what there is no way it is written by a troll. There is no way, like, because unless it's a troll designed to boost Yaniv's ego, because the email basically reads like, "Oh, you become such a powerful LGBT figure that we can't allow you to continue and fight for LGBT rights." Like, if it was like, if you were talking about like actual like alt-right people, they would be calling Yaniv like a fucking degenerate, and I would really be kind of riling on like the whole kind of degeneracy. But instead, this is just Nazis saying LGBT, not dropping in, and they don't seem to drop in any kind of slurs. It's just, you're an LGBT figurehead. Like, I don't think fascists speak in that way with people they don't like.
They would absolutely be as offensive as possible.
Oh God, yeah. But like, even like a troll, like a troll would be. But this is, I genuinely think Yaniv wrote it themselves.
Is this a David Lammy type of situation?
Yes.
Nice.
I still absolutely love this. Oh, which was it? Was it Breitbart that actually quoted AA's video?
I think.
Oh, was it InfoWars?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's even better, really.
That's amazing. And then Froggy's tweet is featured in it as well.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
Oh, you must be so proud of that. Right, so let's go on. JY submits copy of Facebook Convos, 3 pages. Important to know, defendant sold their waxing services via Facebook Marketplace. Name on JY's Facebook account is a stereotypically female name. There is no picture. On Facebook, JY asked about the service for a transgender friend, and defendant replies no. JY goes on tangent in hearing, says replace man and trans with Sikhs and Muslims. Talks about their friends, NB, genderqueer, and what trans is. Compares situation to no service for blacks. I don't think this is the same thing, love. Like, do black people have different genitals? That's the only way in which it's the only way in which that argument would make sense. But Yaniv is quite weird when it comes to race. Like, generally with these kinds of, like, when it comes to like the trans activists, like JY isn't a TRA or trans activist or anything like that. Like, usually they'd be quite left wing, very much making sure to signal their wokeness whenever they can. JY appears to have a bit of a racist history. Like, I mean, like, they when they had an argument with Lindsay Shepherd the other day and managed to get her banned. Like, JY made some sort of like, Trump should go and build a wall in your uterus or something. Like, making fun of the fact that I believe that she has some problems with her reproductive system or something along those lines. So taking a personal issue and making that kind of joke about it, and but then Yaniv that was fine by Facebook standards, but Lindsay responding to it, that was over the line. So member jumps in to ask JY how they decided to ask defendant for waxing services. JY answers, ad on Facebook Marketplace, doesn't recall anything excluding trans women, probably because they wouldn't think. Like, nothing has to, like, it would probably just say for women only. Make sure you don't have balls. Like, it'll be something that's the simple. You're not going to be expected. They're not going to be expected to say, we will service these gender identities only. Oh, and sorry.
Even then, like, they'll say gender identities, like, they'll include women in that, and then she'll just say, well, I'm a woman because I identify as one. So you can't really say, we serve these gender identities.
That is true, because JY barely even says that they are trans women. JY says that they are a biological woman. Whenever you look at them talking online, it's always, I am a woman. I am biologically female. Like, it's all of these kinds of lines. So which is what they do. So even if it said no trans women, JY would be like, well, that doesn't affect me then.
I am biologically a woman, and then
I guess they just have to genitals they'll wax.
So if you remember before when I mentioned briefly about the tampons. Like, we're about to start coming into where this gets interesting. On Exhibit 1, JY is using stereotypical male name, which is true. On Exhibit 2, stereotypical female name. Member asks, why stereotypical female name? Why 2 accounts? JY says they have lots of accounts. Member asks, why? On Exhibit 2, does JY ask if I can receive service while on period?
What? What?
Yeah, so JY has a weird obsession with periods and tampons, and this seems to get dropped in a lot. So imagine being Yaniv's mum, Mama Yaniv, like sitting down, like, you know, just the night before, out with your friends, and like one friend's like, oh, my daughter's just started, you know, a startup company. She's making loads of money. And everyone's like, oh, well, my son is, you know, he's becoming like a research scientist. He's doing a lot of important work. And you're sitting there thinking, well, my child is off to court tomorrow to ask people to wax their balls. So like you've already got quite a high standard anyway. And then you're sitting in court, and then someone reads out why your biologically male child, if they could, asking someone if they could have their genitals waxed while they're on their period.
Oh, God, and I thought I was a disappointment.
Like, Jesus Christ. So naturally,
God.
Yaniv has an excuse for this. Testing defendant's professionalism. If professional, then should provide service while client is on period. This is Facebook Convo in which JY says they can use a tampon and defendant can work.
I don't understand how it's actually got onto this conversation.
Absolutely, yeah, but this is Yaniv's specialty. Yaniv loves talking about tampons.
Why?
I don't. Oh, Jesus. So bear in mind, this is a case about someone getting their balls waxed, and they're like, "Oh, I'll just use a tampon if I'm on my period."
Okay.
Oh, Christ.
Wait. Oh God. Oh, I forgot
Okay,
to think
so
of where the. Oh.
apparently the account has female picture that is not JY. I'd be quite interested to see what picture they use. JY says they used this pic on advice of friends. Account had no pic previous to Facebook Convo. This account is now closed. Moving to Exhibit 3. This Facebook Convo also has a bio female pic that is not JY. JY sets up in Convo and then tells defendant that they are trans. Seems defendant told JY they were going back home for 6 months and must delay appointment. JY does not believe this and cites Groupon ad as proof. By the way, JY has already called Groupon to complain and is expecting action. Question from member. So member is the other word for judge. So why male parts answer on Exhibit 1? JY answers, they have never been gender fluid.
What? That's not an answer.
What?
Their main account is male name. Have always been female, even when using male name or dressed male. Says all their clients know they are female.
How do you say that with a straight face?
It's the cult. It's the cult of all this. Because when one of the things which I can see why people get very pissed off with the whole trans women or women mantra is because a lot of these people are literally saying that they are biological women.
Yeah, that's my issue.
I think that's what so many people's issue with it is that they are actually saying they are biologically women, which is not true. But they just seem to think, well, I'm a woman, therefore my biology is woman. Therefore I am female, because I think
not how it works.
It's not. Otherwise you won't be a fucking trano, would you?
Eloquently put.
Okay, so there's... Hold on a second. JY does not want to give up their verified Twitter account in order to change name. That the Twitter account isn't... I don't believe their Twitter account is verified.
You can change... Can you not change...
Well, I'm just saying...
I think there is a... I think if you do change your name or something, you do have to reapply for verification.
She cares more about verification.
Or if that's or that might be your Twitter handle, which JY never changed anyway because it's always been Trusted Nerd, which is a joke of a website.
I mean, if you've got gender dysphoria, would it not be more important to try and present as female than have a tick?
Absolutely. But
yeah, I was going to say that.
But Yaniv doesn't even have a tick anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, Yaniv doesn't have a tick, so I don't know why they're saying they're verified on Twitter because that's not true. I don't think that's ever been true.
This gets better and better.
JY says they are wearing makeup on male name Facebook accounts. If JY lives in XXX, why try for waxing service in another municipality? Yeah, good question. JY answers, we'll drive anywhere to get balls waxed. Has to go to Victoria. And this is telling, gets whatever I want. Whatever, I do what I want. Says defendant, violated privacy law. I don't quite get how. Member explains that it's not relevant to this action. She cannot enforce privacy law. Here we go. Let's see what the impact of denial of service is. So Yaniv says that saying gender identity is psychological is not true. Female is female if legal, so JY is entitled to female services. And this is a problem with self-ID. because you're just saying, well, if I identify as female, therefore I am female. That is like, a part of me genuinely thinks, like, if you really wanted to get conspiratorial about this, there could be like a cabal of like hidden away of like real hardcore radfems, and they're just thinking like the best way in which to tear down the trans movement, and it's just like use their weapon against them. And then like, because it feels very much like this is someone who really wants to show how stupid a lot of like the trans arguments are, and there is no better example of it than Yaniv.
She is a meme.
Yeah, this is not helping the trans movement.
Oh, it's not at all.
There might be a call for services for people like this who haven't yet transitioned, who maybe do want to have waxing down there. You know, that there may be a market for this, but this is not the way to get it.
So let's see what else they're saying. Now is when JYE. Oh, so this. Okay. So the message earlier from Nazis apparently goes here. So that's even weirder. So what is the impact of not having your balls wax being on you? Well, I got this email from a Nazi telling me I'm a big name in the LGBT community one day. Like, that's no fucking idea. For some reason, I have a note about tanks. Brilliant.
Oh my god, she's a human non sequitur.
That makes even less sense. Here we go. This is what the Nazi email says. JY has become too powerful and too much of a role model to LGBT and women and girls. So Nazis will switch their focus to JY and deal with Morgana Gere later. So they're just going to roll up in like the Luftwaffe, like massive panzer divisions, rolling, chasing Yaniv as Yaniv is driving away on the mobility scooter. That would be genuinely amazing. I would love to watch. It'd be like the the O.J. Simpson car chase. Only it's Yaniv being chased by like a panzer division.
Yeah,
that would be
Messerschmitts, the work.
Actual blitzkrieg on. But it's just like, again, like trolls wouldn't write that.
No,
Nazis wouldn't write that. I can only think of one person who thinks highly enough of Yaniv to write like that.
Yaniv herself.
Yaniv. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that was written by an actual neo-Nazi. Member says that hate on the internet has to be related to defendant, and JY can't have it both ways. Member says that then lawyer will bring up JY's other internet activities. JY says refusal of gender affirmative care affects health. Okay, that's got nothing to do with your balls being waxed. Discusses defendants and her supposed lie about going away. Well, you told people you used multiple accounts. You used multiple accounts to try and pretend that you were someone that you're not. Talking about, you can just work around my tampon. Like, you have no right to criticize her for lying to you at all. Like, that's the absolute audacity to do that. Jesus Christ. JY is always thinking of others. And discrimination also affects trans men. Wait, what the hell just happened?
Press back. Yeah, I think you clicked to reply on the tweet.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, it's the new mouse. I'm still getting used to it.
All right.
Well, like, I don't get how it would affect trans men. Like, would a trans man?
I imagine if a trans man is like post-op, they wouldn't be able. I don't know, actually.
Well, like if a trans man, well, first of all, a trans man would probably say, like, "I'm a man, I have a vagina." And
yes, they wouldn't go there, would they?
Yeah. So, like, that would be a bit strange. Oh wow, Amanda Grimes, £10. Have a great holiday, Rose. Oh, thank you so much. I will definitely be buying a cocktail with that. So I'm going to Europa Park next week, and cocktails are about like €9, but the cocktails are amazing. And because it's German measurements, they don't skimp with the alcohol in it. So I'll be getting quite drunk. So thank you so much, Amanda. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So JY says they have 20 minutes of remarks about biological sex. Member says email to case manager and calls a 15-minute break instead. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
Like this member.
It's like, I'm going to talk to you for 20 minutes about biological sex. Nah.
It's all got to be wrong, though.
Just send it. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, you need no idea what they're talking about. It's just this amazing idea that, it's just like, no, we're just going to have a break instead. It'd be better off having a fag.
Yeah. Imagine the scenario though. It's like, so JY saying, I'm going to talk to you for 20 minutes about biological sex, and the judge just goes, 15-minute break. I need
a fag.
We got some Mama Yaniv drama coming up. This is when JY's parent says that JY has had medical emergency the day before, and parent will not allow JY to have the big one. I mean,
what exactly is the big one?
Well, I always think of the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach whenever I hear that. But what I'm assuming they're talking about is like gender reassignment surgery.
Right.
Like that's the way I read it. Yeah. So parent will not allow JY to have the big one. JY and parents argue during break. And then Yaniv tries to kick parent out.
Okay.
She's such
you bought your mum. You bought your mum here to be a witness, and now you're kicking her out. Like, she's having a good day. She is.
This is so funny.
Member tells someone.
They don't look that young, so I'm not sure how the parent can disallow it if they're an adult.
JY tells parent. JY tries to kick parent out. Member tells someone on phone it is not a police incident. JY tells parent to leave. Parent leaves after saying JY must stop, and it's $500 or life.
What?
I don't get that, but that's amazing way to just end it. It's just because that probably confused everyone. That's overhearing it.
There's so much to unpack from 4 sentences.
Sorry if JY testimony tweets have been confusing, but the testimony really was. Don't blame you at all.
So entertaining.
Tribunal on 15-minute break, and then defendant's testimony will follow. Go into our break myself. Yeah. So we've got a couple of other things. So now it's time for the Justice Centre of Canada lawyer to cross-examine JY. Lawyer reaffirms that JY is under oath and begins. He questions JY about their driver's license. JY doesn't want to say, but eventually they say they have female and driver's license. It was issued. Okay. So this is why JY didn't want to talk about it. It was issued since Yaniv filed complaints. Name is both stereotypical male and female names. Lawyer asks about JY's legal name, also changed within the last several months. So same deal as licensed, changed after filing complaints. So Yaniv was pushing the I'm a biological woman. I've always been a woman. Yeah, all your documents said otherwise until after. And that is really going to go against them. You can't make the argument of like, oh, legally I'm a woman, biologically I'm a woman. If legally you were a man at the time, biologically you were male at the time. I mean, so straight away, like the lawyer just stands up and just instantly just like mic drops on Yaniv. But he ain't done. He ain't done at all.
Do it to me.
So lawyer asked about the Facebook combos. Did you review waxing businesses on Facebook? Did you see it was an East Indian lady? Yes, he did. He saw it was an East Indian lady who he is previous, and bear in mind his comments about immigrants. He doesn't like immigrants. This might play into it. So Facebook convo with defendants. The accounts that JY is using for this is a pic of a biological woman and not JY. Lawyer points out Facebook policy only to have one account. JY acknowledges and says they also have a dev account. This convo happened after convo in Exhibit 1. JY says in this convo they were asking for a friend. Yeah, I bet they were.
All right.
In this convo, JY says they are on their period. JY doesn't want to say friend's name and eventually says it was for both friend and self.
I'm sorry, what?
But then JY confirms they have male parts and no period at that time.
How do you even lie about that?
At that time,
I had a dick and balls. I wasn't on at that time. I wasn't on my period. But this actually gets brought up later, which is pretty amazing. With mum and concedes, and then eventually says, "Yeah, I was just asking for myself." So it went from friend to me and friends to just me.
so that's lying under oath. Then.
Yep.
She's saying that she was on a period.
Well, not on her period at the time.
But she says she can have periods.
That's amazing.
It kind of comes into it. Member says JY needs to answer if they were on their period. No, it was not true when JY said they were on their period in that convo. Why did they lie? JY says they did it to test defendants' professionalism. In Facebook convo, JY said they would use a tampon. JY says professional would work around tampon string.
How would you know?
Are we likening maybe a penis to a tampon string? Work around it?
Like,
I don't think they're comparable.
It's just the weirdest thing.
But
I'm so confused.
Does she know how bad it is if male genitalia bleeds? It's not supposed to do that.
No.
And it's really bad if it does.
It's incredible.
I don't even understand the mechanics of a tampon and a male genitalia. I can only imagine it being painful.
Okay, here we go.
Cringy.
JY will not answer if they get periods, but says they can use tampons. Right, so there's two places where that tampon could be going, and neither of them are good.
Is it oh god, is it
Jesus Christ. I
don't a cannon?
How would you oh my god. And you're saying
JY?
Right, so I think Mama Yaniv is actually is still out of the court at this point. So thankfully she's not hearing Junior talk about inserting tampons
into any orifice.
Into all orifices. Lawyer puts at JY, they've said in public they do not have a vagina, only male parts, but now seem to be insinuating they have both. Lawyer says must address JY's genitals in a case like this. Member says they will think about how best to balance JY's right to privacy about their genitals versus needing clarity in a case involving genitals and let both parties know. Oh, Mama's come back. Yells at member they'll take her to court and she is playing with fire. Member takes 5-minute break to deal with parents. It's just that is insane timing. So we're talking about as a child is talking about whether or not they have periods and where they insert their tampon, and then she just storms in saying that they're going to take the judge to court.
That's too well timed.
The judge is playing with. It's kind of like the judge is sitting there thinking what the fuck is going on here? I had big dreams of getting on the Canadian Supreme Court, and here I am
there, wanting to blow his brains out over a conversation about where tampons going on, man.
I should point out that I think the judge is a woman, so you're misgendering that.
Oh god, that's even worse.
You're misgendering.
How dare I misgender?
So that's insane. So member comes back. Parent will be banned if causes further disruptions. So don't worry, Mama still gets to hear about genitals. So lawyer asks JY about how they represented their genitals. Still have male parts. Answer, yes, no surgery. Will not say if intersex. Everyone is calling having both male and female genitals intersex. JY asks if they could bring a friend. Speaks of self and third person. Says friend is both trans and a woman. There is a knock on the hearing room door. It is a couple of paramedics called by JY's parents. Parent says JY has a XXX that is taking over their mentality.
What exactly is an XXX?
I'm guessing that was something that they weren't allowed to.
Yeah, so this
publicly.
would be like a condition or something that would mean that Yaniv is publicly identifiable.
Right.
But I am not aware of Yaniv having anything that is capable of taking over their mentality. This is incredible. So, like, can we just take a moment to appreciate Mama Yaniv? Like, so she's invited to hear about her child's ball waxing escapades. They have a row. She storms out saying something about $500 or life, comes back in, threatens the judge, then is told to calm down, then calls paramedics, saying that something is taking over her child's mentality.
That's probably the most like honest part of that whole like conversation. There is probably something taking over JY's mentality.
Likely, but like, oh god, it's so weird. Like, so paramedics do verbal check with JY and leave. Parent leaves room. Can hear parent yelling in reception. Back to hearing. Lawyer asks JY when was first waxing. JY says April 2018, but also says refusal is hate. Lawyer says defendant doesn't hate. Parent, mom is back.
Oh, come on,
Mama's back.
Mama's back.
Come on.
Mama is that. This is it. So I'm leaving. Just brilliant. It's just like this court case. You see, the court case itself is embarrassing enough as it is, and we just have Mama bursting through the doors like, right, that's it. Right, that's it. I'm going home.
Screw you guys.
It's like who cares? Who cares? We just like everyone in the room is like, we all want to go home. None of us want to be here. Right. Okay. So back to the hearing. Defendant doesn't hate, but it is hateful to use religion as reason to discriminate. Lawyer asks if defendant's religion or race means discrimination. JY says no, just transphobic beliefs. But now thinks yes, because it is being used as a defense. So that's odd. So it looks like they use, like, Yaniv is actually saying like, yeah, the defendant is using their race as a way to oppress me. Oppression Olympics, everyone.
Yeah.
Lawyer asks to have screenshot entered as exhibit. It's from last summer. Shows JY talking about immigrants. JY says it's about the wall. Bloody hell!
It's about the wall.
Fucking hell! Like the
Trump's wall.
Trump's wall. Trump's wall.
Oh fucking hell! Oh jeez.
Fucking hell! Right.
Sorry.
It's just I'm just imagining just JY jumping up and down going, build a wall.
Oh.
Like, it's kind of weird because like a lot of people have probably voted for Trump to get rid of like degenerates like Yaniv, and then you have Yaniv probably being a MAGA supporter, and it's like, Yaniv, you are the reason why people voted for Trump. You are guaranteeing Trump 2020 here. People like you.
I say carry on.
So anyway, so JY is against immigrants using their status to discriminate. Estimates that they were refused by immigrants 150 times in last year. Okay, that would say something about you more than them. See, like, seriously, if you're getting refused service by 150 people, like, surely you would think that you would look back and think, what is going wrong here? Like, but Yaniv don't do that. Yaniv is big figurehead in like trans movements. Lawyer says JY's rationale was targeting immigrants. They ask if JY's complaint was brought with clean hands. Was complaint made in good faith? And if not, this should be dismissed. Yaniv says immigrants often provide services like Vietnamese for nails, East Indian people for waxing. Stereotypes.
Yeah. The
Jesus Christ.
racist.
Like, yeah, that's great. That is fucking hell.
Like JY
Like,
is actually alright. Like
he is actually like they. So, oops, I
oh,
misgendered.
she, there's no
She,
misgendering.
yes,
There's no misgendering.
of course. She is absolutely not a racist at all. I am sure that you can stereotype Vietnamese and East Indian people. I'm sure that is fine. Hopefully, that statement has pleased the YouTube gods who are just just hanging over the broadcast, ready to take me off air at any moment. If I appease the Yaniv, it will be fine.
Please,
the
no
button a
strike,
little bit.
please.
So I got a £5 from Makuta Pterodax. Thank you. On an off-topic note, did you see the assault and attack on a priest? It was disgusting. Yes, I did. This was in Brazil. I think it was a bishop. Actually, I think it was a bishop. So he was doing a sermon, and then a queer activist rushes onto the stage and pushes him flying off the stage. Like, apparently he wasn't badly injured, but it's actually scary. Like, okay, he does seem very, very anti-gay, and I can see why people would want to kind of protest that, but it's assault.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really quite sickening, actually. Like, it's an old guy. It's an old guy. It's just been like this. I think she's like 30 years old or something, and like she's quite hefty as well. Like she has strength behind her as well. So you just got this big woman pushing this like elderly man. Like, regardless of what his beliefs are, you don't condone that shit.
She can move fast for the size of her. I'll give it that.
It's awful. It's really awful.
Yeah. People have died from like shorter falls.
Yeah. Like you just need him to bang his head on something, and then she could be looking at a murder charge.
Maybe manslaughter, but
manslaughter. You know what? Yeah.
It's bad. It's like whatever you do, like don't push people off stages.
Don't assault people for having views you disagree with. Like,
exactly.
That's what the alt right and the alt left do. Let the alts have it out amongst each other. Let them have their own like battle royale between themselves, so we can be rid of them all.
Oh my god, I would pay for that Hunger Games.
Well, like,
I kind of want to sell tickets to that.
Like Antifa v alt right on an island
in the arena.
That would actually be quite cool. I think a lot of people would be into that.
I don't even think it'd be one-sided. Like, because
no. I think it would be. Well, I think it would be an even fight, because I think Antifa would have more in numbers, but I think the neo-Nazis would probably be built bigger.
Yeah.
So I think it would be quite even.
Yeah, maybe.
But then it depends on if Antifa have weapons, then it doesn't matter how big the neo-Nazis are.
This is the way I'd do it. Right, so they both start from either side, and then you have random weapons scattered about. No guns, only melee, and then let them. Yeah, and then maybe alt-right will win, because I reckon they'll run quicker. It'll be entertaining anyway. Discord.
You just have one last man standing, and then you can just leave them.
Yeah, and then they.
Last man or woman.
Or non-binary, or Yaniv.
Let's not exclude the genders here.
a woman with male genitalia.
Yaniv being in this alt-right battle royale.
Yeah, what side would she be on?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because the alt-right wouldn't have Yaniv.
No, but
the alt-right would
Antifa?
No.
That's the thing.
No, but you need a racist. No, but you need a racist. And to be fair, on Antifa, they wouldn't tolerate that. In their defense, I know. But
you put her in either side, she gets killed barehanded either way. You're in an odd position, JY. Well done. She is the true centrist.
Does that make JY the ultimate centrist?
More of a centrist than the Britisher. It actually takes up. They just imagine Britisher's point on the fence just being taken up as Yaniv just belly flops him out of the way.
She's on the highest offences.
Yaniv and Britisher together and see who.
We need the deep law.
Who is the ultimate centrist here?
If we have anyone from the deep law watching, make a Yaniv and Britisher meme about fence sitting.
Oh god.
Anyway, let's get back. So Back to the racist. JY says not targeting immigrants, but lawyer says JY knew defendant was an immigrant. Member calls for lunch break, and during lunch break will decide if defense can ask targeting immigrants, and most importantly,
we're not even at lunch.
Yeah, during lunch, there was 2 officers walking JY out of the lobby. Mama Yaniv came back.
God, she's the most
Mama
indecisive
Yaniv came
bitch.
back and then was like being escorted out. They were very nice to parents, suggesting parent find a place to eat lunch. Parent came back one last time to arrange Yaniv going to XXX after hearing. JY says that they've had to. Mom.
Exorcisms?
Mom.
She's literally Eric Cartman.
I've already had. Tribunal starts again. Member says genitals. Question about genitals irrelevant, and she'll allow question about immigrants. Ooh, spicy. Talk of it taking 10 to 15 minutes. JY says they can go on for hours, although they claims to have had 2 XXXs. So, of course, JY can go on for hours about genitals. That shouldn't surprise anyone.
Yeah. Oh,
Member is allowed question about JY's external genitals, and although internal sex organs are not allowed. Lawyer moves on to ask about it. Why is it funny to ask immigrants for tampons? JY doesn't give substantive answer because it's a fetish. Lawyer moves on to 7. This Facebook convo has JY commenting on immigrants. Not the cleanest people. Jeez.
Oh God,
God damn it.
Wow.
Does she listen to Richard Spencer?
Wow. JY goes to female gym to avoid immigrants because immigrants don't go to the gym. Well, they don't go to the female gym, do they? Fucking hell. Oh my God. Judgmental, liars, and dirty. Lawyer says, why ask immigrants for services? JY says no choice. Stuck with immigrants. Has to suck it up, buttercup. Lawyer suggests to JY they make comments and complaints to make trouble for immigrants. JY says that elders in Sikh culture can't believe in discrimination about gender identity. Lawyer submits photos of JY, who objects. Lawyer argues relevant because of question about male genitals. The way JY represents a stereotype is normal way presenting, not atypical to present as male. Defendant had to decide about waxing on photos, so may have seen JY as male. Right. Okay. More tampon questions.
Why? What?
Lawyer asks comments about putting a tampon in. Does JY use tampons? Brings up Exhibit 8, where JY says they don't know how to use tampons. JY has said tampon yes and tampon no. So does JY... So I'm assuming that means JY has said yes and no on whether they use tampons. Goes to credibility. So on the balance of probability, how likely is it that this person that we see in front of us, who we know to have male genitals, uses tampons in the way they are intended?
I assume that's rhetorical.
Jesus Christ. Lawyer gives new exhibit, says it's screenshot a convo where JY... Oh, this is interesting. JY asked about girls having their pussies out in change room and seeing tampon strings. So this is, if you've not seen my video on JY, this happened. I believe it was might have been around the same time the waxing happened, where Yaniv would message various women who are part of different makeup groups and stuff, talking about going to the gym, and it's about changing rooms and saying, I'm going to a changing room for the first time, but then randomly starts talking about how many naked people would he see. There's the particular worrying things, like talking about going on a boat, and there would be a load of 10-year-olds on the boat, and he wants to go into the bathroom. What should he do when there's lots of 10-year-old girls in the bathroom? And then what should he do if one of the girls comes up to him and says that she is on his period, and whether he should take her into a cubicle and show her how to use a tampon. I'm not making this up. This is something which actually happened.
No,
As in, he asked it. He didn't, as far as I am aware, and I hope Yaniv did not take a young girl into a cubicle and show them how to use a tampon. I hope that did not happen. But
Jesus.
Yaniv certainly talked about it.
Well, at least she was only talking about it. Jesus Christ.
Lawyer says conversation contradicts JY's testimony. JY says it's not from their account and it's not them. Yeah, so Yaniv often says this. I'm not entirely too sure why.
But even as a biological woman, I would not want to take someone else's child into the bathroom and assist them with tampon.
Like, it's such a weird fascination, and why
I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
Well, no, I don't think. Who would be? Who would be comfortable? That would be such an awkward conversation. I could never imagine a little girl going up to anyone in a change room and being like, "I need you to who isn't their mom or anything, and then wants to talk to them about how to put in a tampon." I can't imagine anyone doing that. That's just not a normal thing.
And at 10, most girls don't need tampon.
Of course.
They start much later. I mean, you might get the occasional early bloomer, but it's not going to be that common.
It's what I find strange about it is, I've been transitioned for years at this point, and when you go to the back, obviously I use female bathrooms and stuff. When you use them, you just use them, and that's kind of it.
Yes.
You
go in your little cubicle and you do your thing, and then you come out.
You're not hanging around with it. They're not okay, if you're with friends or something, a little bit different, but never ever speak to children in there at all.
Yeah, I don't get
that's weird.
I don't get the whole thing with transgender bathroom debates. Just go in a cubicle and does it really matter? That's always been my take on it, but I don't know. This whole case is just weird, though. And I think that's understating it.
Oh, it really is. So, here we go. This is another screenshot of convo that discusses assisting 10 or 12-year-old child with tampon. Lawyer says goes to credibility, doesn't know how to use tampon. Lawyer asks about Yaniv's first Brazilian, spring 2018. Crossover now to Yaniv, who gets to respond. He makes statement questioning defendants on their views on gender fluid and non-binary, but then the judge interrupts Yaniv, and their testimony is now over.
Oh, thank God.
So then they call in an expert witness. So this is quite interesting. Basically talking about the various risks involved. When it involves male wax clients, must handle their genitals, shaft of penis and scrotum. Lots of men get erections. Some are just embarrassed, but a substantial amount ask for sex services. And when refused, some of them might be embarrassed, but some get angry. And this woman in particular has been called bitch, slut, cunt, all of these kinds of things.
Again, this is a woman who brings clients to her own house.
Yeah.
And she says that she's worked at male-only wax salon and says angry men are very intimidating to staff at the salon. And you cannot and do not teach male waxing. Some have religious objections to handling male genitals. There's no accredited program for male waxing. Wax used for genitals is different to the arms and leg. Male genitals different. Skin is very thin, could cause injury if not done properly. Also, there is a longer requirement for accreditation in British Columbia and never has been there's no longer requirement for accreditation.
Yeah, that was a point I was going to bring up. She said she had never done male genitals before, and she was uncomfortable with doing male genitals. You would not want her near your genitals with hot wax if you had male genitals.
Well, that's it. You would want to go. You would assume you'd want to go for someone who's experienced, someone who you know is going to do a good job. You'd go to a specialist because you would be aware as someone with testicles that the skin is quite thin.
Someone experienced with the back, sack, and crack.
That's it.
You would not want to get injured during a waxing.
Definitely not. Not with the male parts. Yeah.
So apparently there was some harassment from Yaniv with Yaniv's friends not leaving them alone. That she works exclusively from home in a small room, small children present in home. Her Facebook marketplace said the services at her home. Yaniv contacted for full body in Brazilian, display pic, thought was a man, only waxes women, so says no. Yaniv says they are a woman, and then said trans, no surgery. So they're not comfortable with male genitals. They're a member of the Sikh religion. They don't hate Yaniv, and they won't wax men at all, like not even facials. And they don't care about transgender, only type of genitals. And women stay with one man for life, intimate only with that one man, intimate touching only with husband. So that's quite important to take into account here. JY asks why religion should trump their rights. Well, because they're an individual and they have a religious belief.
You don't even need to make the religious argument as well.
No,
she just doesn't do male genitals. Like, that's it.
Yeah, like it's like the other day in like the last Trans Stupid when I covered the Christian doctor who said that he was like lost his job for in a hypothetical situation, not calling a 6 foot tall bearded man she, and he was resting on, well, it was my religion. But no, your average person isn't going to call that person a woman. And it's the same thing here. Like if a woman is not comfortable with doing that, like waxing testicles, is that a service that she offers? No, she doesn't have to offer that service. That's not something she has done before. If it's a Brazilian wax, that's doing it on, like, you know, that's female parts. If it's like I think it's called like the Manzillion or something.
Yeah, I think
probably has a name.
Probably
has a name like that. Like, ultimately, does she offer waxing on genitals? No. There we go.
You have to ask
that
as well.
Should be the end of the conversation.
In what other situation would it be okay to try and force somebody to touch your genitals? I mean, we have words for that.
Yeah, I think, and this is one of the things that makes me really uncomfortable about this, because I'm sure that Yaniv is very much aware of it. I mean, like the amount of people that are taken to court over this, like there's a lot. There's a lot of people that are being taken to court. Yeah, well, we're talking like 15 different cases here. And there were even people who did agree to do the waxing. But like you're going through so many different people, and then you just seem to be on a vendetta to punish all these people for not waxing you. Well, like it is terrifying. Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
I haven't noticed a trend like that with the with trans radicals anyway.
Yeah. But Yaniv is, as I mentioned, Yaniv is a special trans radical.
She certainly is special.
So there's some quite hot takes in here. Here we go. Yaniv asks why religion should trump their rights. Asks if BH will provide service to post-op trans women. BH doesn't understand what post-op trans woman means. Says would wax vagina, not male genitals. Yaniv then thinks that they have a very clever point and says, why would you do a haircut for post-op trans women? And then the defendant says they don't have a penis on their head. It's just like boom.
I don't know, yeah. JY's acting like she does.
Well,
JY asks why older Sikhs disagree with what she said about waxing males. I would love to know if whether Yaniv has been to like Sikh temples or whatever and has actually sat down with like elders and I don't know people who are really involved in religion, has just been like, what do you think about waxing balls? Like, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if Yaniv had done that. Like, just a weird level of self-awareness that goes on. But like this the simple idea just going up to a load of men just being like I want this woman to wax my balls. What do you and she follows your religion, should she do it? Like, and I can't imagine them actually being no, that's perfectly fine because you are a woman. I can't imagine them because they'd probably just be like, what the hell are you talking about? You weird. JY asks BH why they chose this profession. Well, she supports her family. Why is she not comfortable waxing all women? Like, well, no, she's just not comfortable with male genitals. JY says this was rejected based on a picture. Well, she thought the picture was male. Well, but then JY said woman with male parts.
It annoys me when they say that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Oh.
And then it was hypotheticals on waxing non-binary and Caitlyn Jenner. JY asks why. She said she was going home out of the country for 6 months. And she just said, well, I just wanted to get you off my back and that your friends are harassing me. I just want you to go away. I was just trying to end the conversation. Like, just leave me alone. And then JY tries to raise privacy law, saying that she violated email that wrongly included other defendants. Judge just tells Yaniv to shut up.
Nice.
And then JY asks why the defendant is scared about periods.
This is a weird obsession.
Wax around the string.
She says hygiene issue about bleeding also increased sensitivity when women are on period.
You shouldn't be bleeding there,
and then Yaniv is just like, I rest my case. Like, this never had any. There was never like you were never on your period, so why did any of this matter? But now we're moving on to day 2. It's the second of 3 cases that have been grouped together. So
how was this not thrown out of court on day 1?
So the judge is let me try and bring up where we go. So these are 5 issues: JY's gender identity, scope of services, what's gender identity elemental. JY interjects to say that they want costs. Like, well, we can argue that in closing, but then JY asks about the defendant's business. And so JY basically just wants info to get more costs, and they increase their costs to $15,700. Like, so JY just right at the start of this is just instantly fishing for information to get more money.
Wow.
Hell.
That is insane. So we've got some more opening statements. JY has all the qualities of a woman,
apart from the important one.
As a child, was a little diva, girly, and prancing around the house. And you think that you were diagnosed with gender identity disorder, though not recognized back then. Well, there was an equivalent of it. And the day before, Yaniv says that they absolutely were diagnosed with it. So
yeah, you either have a diagnosis or you don't.
Well, like I kind of wish that I had like a Phoenix Wright kind of thing set up so I could just click like objection to every time Yaniv kind of contradicts himself.
Fantastic.
Like, has lost many friends. It's okay to be different. Helping so many people. Doesn't like attention, but saving lives makes it worth it. This is waxing balls.
You keep talking about periods for no reason, JY. You're saving about as much as... I can't even think of a good analogy because most people actually save someone.
Okay, so discrimination has caused mental distress, caused delays and has had to find other providers, religious exemption, blunts LGBT cause. No such thing as a biological female or male, and JY is part of a protected class. There we go. There we go. There it is. Like, you can't touch me. You can't touch me. Look, I have a shield. Like, that is such a child thing. It's just like, you can't touch me. That's what I could imagine them doing.
I thought religion was a protected.
Well, Yaniv doesn't consider it. So, that's, you know.
Yaniv doesn't consider a lot of things from the sounds of it.
So this woman travels to clients' houses, and she just doesn't want to go to Yaniv's house. And that should be the end of it. Even though Yaniv continued to badger her, she can't be compelled to work in another jurisdiction. So she works in another town. So it's completely out of her area. I mean, so yeah, you're too. So it's kind of like, now you're too far for me to go. Sorry, I can't do it anyway. So there is elevated risk in house calls. I can absolutely believe that. Defendant has a risk. She's on medication for epilepsy and is developmentally challenged. Has religious, family, cultural concerns as well as jurisdictional issue. Tribunal member should interpret law through cultural lens. JY has made racist remarks like dirty and liars. She's Punjabi. And then JY objects, but is told to shut up. There was no ill will from there, but JY castigated her. Used stereotypical male name and profile photo. Not true that biological sex doesn't exist. Again,
how is that in the conversation?
Yeah. You can't compel someone to go to a stranger's house. That's important. So let me find out where the next kind of important thing. So having a look at JY's testimony again. Try to get all the facts by helping I couldn't possibly note all the times that JY was stopped by the member for making an argument, going off on a tangent, or trying to get witness to answer questions about hypothetical situations. I wonder how many of them were related to periods. The member tried to get all the facts by helping JY properly formulate questions and asking questions themselves as part of their role. During this hearing, the member had to remind JY to ask for a question, wait for answers, and generally stop interrupting. Brilliant. Oh God, this sounds like a nightmare. So lives so many meters from the border, so she must travel to house. As said, there was a flyer attached to ad, but there was no flyer. Okay, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Here we go. So Yaniv asks for service. She says, ladies only. JY says, I'm a lady. So the other one then says, where are you at? I only work here. Yaniv's like, on border. Lol, you don't look like a girl. I am a girl. What is your availability? Monday to Friday, 10 to 6. I am trans. Is problem? What is trans? And then Yaniv explains, can't do it. I am a girl, so why not? If Yaniv was genuinely this kind of gormless and thinking that there is no difference in all of this stuff, I don't think Yaniv would even be bringing up the fact that they are trans. I think that they would, if they genuinely believed that there was no difference in biology, then they wouldn't do it. They would just go to these places, be like, I'm here for waxing, and then just whip them out. I think that they would do that. I genuinely think that they would do that. I really think that Yaniv is just putting all this on. I really do.
Yeah, she's definitely playing for a victim narrative here.
So Yaniv's like, this is discrimination, quotes the code. Like, again, like your average person who's booking or waxing wouldn't start quoting human rights codes to people. Sorry, not trying to be rude, still a man into a lady. You can't reject service. Like, you can't say no to me.
I don't know about that.
You probably can. So, yep, then it's blocked. Right, so there's then a lot of talk about a flyer. Okay. So Yaniv says that they have epilepsy and says this is evidence time, not argument time. So the woman has a 4-year-old child with autism. She's depressed. Only made $500 that year. Said that Yaniv looked like a man to her. Didn't disrespect Yaniv. And then, yeah, that just seems like she has a really hard situation, and it just seems really cruel. Like, this is just really cruel.
JY doesn't
yeah.
care, apparently.
Like, this is really cruel. So there's like JY will then show a photo from the Facebook convo. It's one many people would think of as stereotypically male. So JY thought that the tweeter was with the media, so JY started to get a bit fishy with it. So JY says SG discriminated because she said, "I know you have the rights, but still denied service." JY then asks to play recordings of their rejection by other providers. Member says no, because that's nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After the break, there's another exhibit, which is a large photo. Again, more photos that kind of look like a guy. Talking about where he is, then asking about race. JY's feelings about immigrants, advised feelings about immigrants. So Yaniv only called immigrants liars after contacting this lady, apparently.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
So she's the one that pushed Yaniv into the dark pits of racism, of course.
Imagine going to the alt-right, you can't get your balls waxed.
Wow. Peak degeneracy. Right.
Oh god.
Okay, so they've asked about Yaniv's male name, and Yaniv is like, no, like it's not a stereotypical male name. Like, look at the judge's name, or the lawyer's name. They could be female names. Starts asking lawyer about names. And the judge is just like, shut up.
Stop.
Just shut up. Oh Christ. Again, more pictures. Oh, it's a sparkly hat picture. I know which one that is. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh, please. Oh god. All these pictures are terrible. I'm just saying.
Oh, now it's like now I actually want to find a picture of Yaniv. Yeah. I can't.
It's always the way.
Yeah, but I know the one they're talking about anyway.
Tweet it out later.
Yeah. So Yaniv they talk about Yaniv's business, which is a website called Trusted Nerd. So I think Yaniv's Facebook account is verified. Their Twitter, however, isn't, and their Twitter is a lot bigger presence. But having said that, Yaniv doesn't really get any interactions other than people telling him to shut up. Which is quite special.
Yeah.
So basically, they then make an argument that Yaniv had lied to Facebook. Like presenting as male, saying that biological sex is different than identity, and wants the objection noted to Yaniv not answering questions about sex. They then go into more arguments saying Yaniv said gender identity not publicly known, but has said publicly female since 6.
I don't believe that.
So
just saying.
Yaniv lies, refuses to answer questions, is violating oath. Lawyer will ask for costs, will ask member to lift publishing ban, will ask member to dismiss case. Tribunal found outer genitals relevant. Yaniv identifying as male at time of service request, still male parts, no surgery, used to be a guy. Need clarity around JY's gender identity. There are cost threats, increasingly high stakes. Yaniv has made serious complaints, so the woman is allowed to arrest evidence. So the judge agrees, saying that how Yaniv identified is relevant to truthfulness. Okay, so male on DL at the time, down low. I don't know.
What
had to have SRS surgery to change at that time. Female on BC on birth certificate.
Bullshit.
Won't answer regarding the original birth certificate has been destroyed. Okay. I don't know. So from what I can gather, Yaniv really, I think it was around 2017 that Yaniv started presenting as female. So, well, I say presenting. So to have the if it's anything like the UK, to get your birth certificate changed, you need to have several years of real life experience, which I don't believe Yaniv would qualify. At least in UK standards, Yaniv wouldn't qualify for, because Yaniv hasn't done that.
This is Canada, right?
Yeah, I don't know how the Canadian system works, but the British.
It's fairly similar to the British
isn't
system.
Lauren Southern? She
Yeah,
had
Lauren's.
her driving license changed.
That
on
is
a whim.
true. That is true. Lauren Southern is actually male. Yeah, I keep on forgetting. Yeah, Lauren Southern is a
So
man.
maybe it is a lot easier in Canada.
That is true.
It might. Does it depend on the state?
Potentially.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
don't.
But I'm saying that's just driver's license. That's not birth.
Yeah.
You would hope birth certificate will be a bit more difficult to change. So, what else is this saying? So they're talking about the sparkly hat. So when was the pic with the sparkly hat taken? And Yaniv gives the date. Was from same trip when you took pictures of a stripper on the table. And then Yaniv is like, no.
Well,
how did you get my stripper pics? And then the lawyer's like, well, when you put pictures online, you can kind of get it easily.
This is why I'm under a pseudonym.
Brilliant.
it's beautiful.
So, yeah, so tweets are on. Yes, yeah, that's just pointing out. Okay. So Yaniv was aware she only went to clients' homes. Why would you want a dirty lying immigrant at your home? Well, Yaniv hadn't said it publicly at the time. So you can't use Yaniv's thoughts against them when they didn't actually say it at that point. Idiot lawyer. This is brilliant. Lawyer pushes that Yaniv is lying, had already been racist. But then Yaniv, just like this is a mic drop moment. Only feel that way about a subset of immigrants.
Well, as long as it's not all of them.
Hashtag not all. She's not a bigot, people. Jesus Christ.
Only some of them.
Them white ones is okay.
I like it. Oh, for God's sake.
She is a steaming piece of shit. What the fuck?
This is awful. Like,
it's so funny, though.
Like, not unreasonable for someone to say that you look like a man. Was wearing makeup in the picture. Yeah, but you only had a male name, never met you, and she'd have to drive to a personal residence. And, could you recognize she had safety concerns? Well, she could have looked at my profile.
Oh, God,
yeah,
what an excuse.
Based on the evidence that she had, or she could have researched it. Well, why does she need to go an in-depth? If she did an in-depth research on you, she probably would have found some very disturbing things. I wouldn't be encouraging people to search you online. Like of all the people, like, you are the last person who should be asking people to Google it. Considering, right? Let's type in. Right, so
show me the goods. Let's go.
So let's type in Jessica Yaniv. So the first thing that pops up, so we've got women or human, predator, pedophile.
Nice.
Jonathan Yaniv is a predator.
I did Google it, and I did find a lot of these, and I didn't read into them. Like, excuse me. Why is she being called this? These things.
This is it. You search it, and it's just instantly. It's either stories about everything which has happened, or it's very critical websites. Nothing is positive apart from Yaniv's own channels.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't ask that. JY asks if this lady gave sponge baths to trans people. And then the judge is like, stop being weird.
I'd hate to be this judge.
And then, like someone says, like, no, so do you recognize that she's less than proficient in English? And he's like, nope, don't agree with you there. Like, what?
I
Like,
call them dirty immigrants, but I think she is fluent in English and better than me at English.
yeah, it's like you could like, oh my god, that's amazing.
I don't, like, what goes on in her head apart from like a fucking monkey clapping its cymbals. Like, she is nuts, man.
This
isn't what I expected when I came on tonight.
What did you think?
I thought, well, I didn't think it'd be this special. I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about trans issues. I've been into it a bit, but I've never seen anything this insane. Like, the worst thing I've ever seen is like whether a woman is CEO of mermaids and like the whole mermaids thing. That's the worst thing I've seen, and that's all like, oh, that's all bad. But I've never seen anyone go from like there are dirty immigrants to there's no such thing as biological sex to like religious.
Wax my balls.
Yeah, like, oh, I just didn't expect someone to disregard reality to this extent.
Well, this is Yaniv is something special.
This is amazing. I'm so glad I came on.
This does not. This just does not look good for the trans community.
No, it doesn't.
This is what people see.
Yeah. Well, this is
what people see in the public, and this is how trans people are being viewed.
And this is why more trans people need to be calling this out. Like, this cannot be allowed to continue. And if Yaniv is successful in their cases, it sets a terrifying precedent in Canada.
Oh yeah, I would not want to be a beautician if this goes through.
Because it does. Like, I can't see it going through. Yaniv doesn't. Like,
not from anything I've heard here, does it sound like it's going through?
Like, it's yeah. Like, but if it was successful, that's why it's a big deal. As I mentioned earlier, the gay press isn't covering it. You think that they would. You would think that they would be commenting on it.
Touch it.
This needs to be talked about. Everyone needs to be aware that this is going on, because this really shows like the very worst that the trans community can be. Like, this is, or without going into rape levels, this is
and like taking kids over to America to give them hormone blockers that could potentially ruin their life. Like,
what I mean when it comes to general kind of peak degeneracy. This is some of the worst out there. Like, this is just terrifying.
Yeah. If it doesn't go through, at least we can only laugh at it. But if it goes through, that's there goes the laughing.
Right. Okay. So I'm aware this has been going on for a while. There's still another thread to cover. So I just want to kind of pick out some of the most special moments, because there are some quite good bits. Okay. So after a bit more of a debate, Mama Yaniv comes in, sits in the back row of gallery, has taken off shoes and has bare feet, no socks, stuck through the back of seat ahead of them.
Oh, Mama.
So the defendant's father comes in. He's Sikh and he'll be a translator. So again, mentioning her. Okay, that's okay, this is okay, so this is hard. So she has epilepsy. She had a first seizure at 3 days old, at least one attack per year for the first 5 years. She is slow in school and a special class bullied. She's still on medication. She's rejected from marriage because of health issues and slowness. And they point out that she's crying during all this. Arranged marriage in India at 30.
This is cruel.
Yeah.
She has a baby boy who's now been diagnosed with autism. She's not working at the time. And her new husband came up with the wax business idea. Her husband said only wax females. She did a course and she restricted service to people she or her mother knew. After the JY complaint, she stopped going to people's homes and she's very stressed, can't work in the last 10 months, has been on medication, and she lives at her parents' house. They help take care of a child. She's not quite normal, describes times people took advantage of her as a young adult. This is
bad.
actually...
JY, you're a piece of shit.
This is actually really, really
some of the
hard.
stuff that is being said is funny, but it's cruel to this woman.
It's incredibly cruel. That leaves me quite speechless, actually.
Yeah.
I don't get, and yet Yaniv is just kind of having a power trip over this.
It's bullying.
Yaniv tries to argue about if the Sikh religion disallows touching biological males if you're married. Then why did a defendant in another case say she could do a haircut? Lawyer says, you're speculating about other people's beliefs, and the judge is like, yeah, don't do that. So Yaniv tries again, and he Jesus Christ,
fuck you,
so you've been told don't ask this question, so you're just like, I'm gonna give it another shot.
She's a piece of shit.
Any decent human being at that point, after hearing that stuff, if they didn't already know it, would be like, shit, maybe I'm being a bit cruel here.
So she talks about how she worked for a health thing, and her husband is strict religious belief, so when they got married, she quit that job in the health center. And Yaniv is like, well, if you went back to care, would you okay to leave LGBT dirty in the bathtub? That's not an argument. That's not what you're asking. If you're working in care, it's a bit different to waxing someone. You're talking because I have friends who have been carers and stuff, and they've worked in old people's homes, and there's a lot that you've got to do.
Yep.
In those kinds of roles, it's they're very intensive. I would be able to do it.
Yeah, I've had to do it for a week or two when I volunteered for pilgrimage to Lourdes, which is like Catholic Mecca. Had to help old people there. It's difficult, really.
Yeah,
I did it for a few years, and if somebody had a religion like that, I'm certain that the employer would take steps to be like, okay, you asked the woman. We won't force you to do something that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. That's it. That's absolutely I don't know. So keeps on bringing up the religious values, saying why are your religious beliefs more important than my rights? Would you provide care or wax for elderly trans women if they had undergone SRS?
Is it relevant? She just keeps. It's like every time something's said to her, she has to go, yeah, but what about this? It's whataboutism to the extreme.
Christ. And it's like, when was her last seizure? Well, it was about 12, 13 years ago. And then Yaniv is like, well, she hasn't had any in that time. Like, well, no. She's on medication. And so Yaniv is like, oh, well, why is she claiming that she has epilepsy as a reason she can't work? That's none of your business. I mean, she's on medication for it. And she seems to have other things. Yeah, it's managed. And she has other things going on in her life. There's loads of things. So dense. So many things. You can easily see it. So she has the husband being religious. You have her being mentally handicapped. You have the epilepsy. You have the depression. You have the young child with autism. There are lots of factors going on in play here as to why she's not working. So it's that's insane. Here we go. So can she wax ladies and not men? Yes. Then why refuse service for a woman, as that is what I am? That's the judge is like, that's not a proper question. Sikh religion says love and care for everyone. If true, and you love and care for everyone, why do you have your religious beliefs? If a homeless man comes into the temple, how will they be treated? Only males will bathe homeless males. Same for women. Only women bathe women.
Homeless people not bathe themselves. Give them a bath.
Well, generally,
In
yeah.
which to
Like
bathe.
they're not handicapped. Like a homeless person isn't they just don't have a
Hand him a
home.
towel and point him in the right direction.
Exactly.
I assume she means in like biblical time, where like if you were giving charity to someone like that, you would, if you bring a man into the house, the husband would help bathe him and whatever. I assume it's like that. That's what she means.
So Yaniv, when you emigrate, you are required to follow the cultural beliefs of Canada. If I went to India, could I impose my beliefs?
Oh, that's woke.
Stopped by member say shaking her head that you can tell she's just getting sick of this. That's brilliant.
Oh god.
JY says, why are they making us follow their beliefs? Why would they do this if they had 911 care? This is amazing. So member says JY is making an argument again. This is just insane. So it's more talking about, they're talking to the family members of the defendant. So Yaniv talks about intersex people with both biology, and Yaniv has had lots of time to say if they have a vulva or both sets of genitals.
How many times have intersex people been asked to stay out of this conversation?
Yeah, all the time.
Why would anyone want to be in this conversation? The member doesn't want to be in this conversation.
Nobody really wants to be. Yeah. So it's like the lawyer is saying it's like 1 in 10 million people has both sets of genitals.
Most are just like hormone differences.
Yeah, there's lots of different intersex things, but it doesn't mean that you are your own sex. It just means that you are one sex, but with maybe some characteristics or some things.
It's most of her questions have been pointless anyway. Like, they shouldn't even be in court. I don't understand why. Why are we even on day 2?
Why are they putting this poor woman through this?
Yeah, that as well.
There's so much to this. Like, honestly, I'm kind of going through because I don't want to read like every single tweet.
No, I get that.
But there's so much here.
This is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, like this is a lot more than I was expecting. So Yaniv says, how can genitals apply in a service not on the genitals? Like, what are you talking about? Waxing genitals? So
I
think this one was body waxing rather than genital.
Yeah, I assume she's moved on from there to something irrelevant again. Like, fuck you, JY.
So they talk about the publication ban. Lawyer tells, explains it. Okay, is interrupt. So SG is sworn in. Lawyer tells SG that it's her time to explain to the tribunal. It's interrupted by Yaniv's parent, who comes in and quite forcefully throws a very thick folded note on the table next to the judge.
Mama's back.
And then she just like
large writing
storms out. Wow,
it probably just says end me on it. Like,
I want to know, when is the case versus the member?
I want to know. I really want to see that.
Oh fucking hell!
Right, so like she talks about like, she's like the impact of the complaint. She feels frightened. She can't do anything. She lays on the couch. She can't sleep at night. She takes prescription sleep aid and depression pills. Why did this happen to me? Eating her brain, worried about how it will affect her if she wants to have another baby. God says, forgive, forgive and forget, karma. And then JY begins his cross-examination and passes 3 photos to her and asks her if they are male or female. Christ.
Yep, lawyer objects, not within context of case.
Yeah, and then a member's
That's
just
been
like,
a lot of this.
how does this help? And then, oh Christ. So member will actually allow it, but decides what weight to give. JY says, we don't know what genitalia the member has. Okay. So she talks a bit more about her background. JY tries to ask a bad question.
Someone in the chat is actually explaining the bathing thing in Sikh temple.
Okay, let's see. Says Laker, I am Sikh and I lived in India. Steel tubs, brass buckets of hot water, and a pitcher in the bucket. Aya washed our hair. They're talking about Sikh temples. Okay.
Because old school was steel tubs with a bucket of hot water next to you, it's easier if someone else pours while you rinse.
Okay. I can get that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, there's more discussion because the thing is, a lot of these seem to be generally the same kind of questions, and it's just like basically a lot of these seem to be Sikh women who have never heard of what trans is, and then JY badly explains it and says, "I'm a woman, wax my balls." Like, it's the general kind of risk of it, like thing of it. So that's the end of part 2. Now there is a specific bit which I need you guys to read. It's on this one. Here we go.
Oh man.
Oh, apparently I missed a bit when JY and Mama were talking in court with Mama feeding questions. I won't go back through it, but that's a good
where
thing
they
to
were
point
on the
out.
internet.
Yes, there is. I'm not sure whether it was on that day or on another day, but there is one where JY is kind of like going on the internet. It might be in this one because going like Elsie is brought up, and then the judges like get off the internet.
Oh,
That's special.
Oh,
How do you know? You must be on Twitter. Get off.
Yeah. So here we go. So Yaniv wants 2 people banned from all hearings, which is basically Elsie, I think, and somebody else. They want $500,000 in costs against JCCF Canada for misconduct. Yaniv wants a closed hearing. Parents is identified against the rules, harassed in real life, shows water bottle on which they have stuck a sticker pulled off a post. Sticker claims JY as a sexual predator.
what the fuck is this court case?
Here we go. Has evidence that I have been transmitting during hearings. Says it's based on timestamps. Can't show timestamps on the offered screenshots because I blocked them. Offers to show member on screen. JY is not supposed to be on Twitter, so member asks them to turn off Wi-Fi.
Oh, fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
Just stop, JY.
This doesn't need to be a closed case. This needs to be a reality TV show.
Both sides are in orbit.
Fucking hell. Like, this is just insane. Like, talks about waxing again, gives a lot of background. So they are confused because they are a girl. So here we go. Yaniv asks I believe it's the defendant if available, location. JY asks if it's okay that they are trans. The defendant's nope, sharing home salon because of rent. They don't think it's allowed. Then JY is like, well, I'm confused. I'm a girl. And the defendant's like, TBH, don't even know what trans is. Say you were a boy before and she doesn't have good English skills. So JY is like, I'm a girl now. So she's like, I think I understand, but I've never done that before. Yaniv's, what's the issue? And she's like, oh, I don't mean there's any stigma, but then Yaniv is like, can do. I don't quite get that.
I don't know.
Here we go. So remember. Okay, here we go. Here's the texting. At this point, parent begins texting. Nice lady in gallery tells parent they are not allowed to text. I put up hand and tell member. Parent, seated next to me, stands up and tells me to shut up. Says, you will end up in emergency, not me. It was quite alarming.
That's basically a threat.
Member makes parent leave hearing room. Facebook convo testimony continues. JT has removed the ad. They then kind of discuss a bit more. It's always the same kind of conversation. So just to paraphrase, Yaniv will be like, I am trans. Like, Yaniv will be, can you do waxing? They're like, yes, I am trans. No, we can't do that. Okay, but I am a girl. So it's a weird roundabout conversation that Yaniv is having, almost like he's trying to trip them up. So there's, yeah, so Yaniv then talks about a trans cake. So Yaniv also says that, oh, here we go. He was refused for 16 waxes. Why? Has to travel. Why? Has to pay more money. Why? Has impacted dignity, feeling of self-worth, financial impact, and more. But the salons in Vancouver are too expensive. So we're starting to get to we should be getting to the good bit soon.
There's a good bit. Man, I thought it peaked.
Right, okay, so it does appear to be missing. Okay, that's weird. So there seems to be a bit of a missing link on there. Let me just try and find it, because there is a very specific tweet. Right. Just bear with me a moment. This is the thread. There seems to have been missing some.
We're now beyond the part that I'd got to, sir. Everything from this point is new.
I got onto tweet 2. I didn't realize I missed a gold mine.
You did.
This is a top.
Here we go. Yeah, I seem to be missing a lot of this. So this is when Yaniv then questions Mama Yaniv. Okay, but still discusses the impact, saying lies hurt, and it's refused waxing. Again, talks about the trans cake. Here we go. Their parent kind of flips out. Again, asks who she works for. Why am I writing? Parent thinks I'm affiliated with JCCF Canada. Probably best if we don't talk. Parent says, I know who you are and who you work for. You will answer for it. Apparently, Mama Yaniv takes photos of her. And now this is the grand finale. So this is kind of like the before I go thing, because this is the absolute highlight.
Let's go.
All right, I'm strapped in.
Let's go.
Okay. Now is the time for Yaniv's parent to give testimony. Parent is now sworn in. The point of their testimony is to document the impact the denial of services had on JY. Will note, parent testified a lot about the impact on themselves as well.
It's a family of narcissists.
Going to call them PY for this, they begin by saying they will not just testify as a witness, but as a parent. Yaniv, was I born as a boy, girl, or both? Mama, both. What was my gender identity? I didn't want to admit it, but you wanted to be a girl. JY played with Barbie dolls, Barbie clothes, said, make me a dress, make me a princess. JY, hold on. Just to shut down the hate, mother. What was my age when I got my first period? JY's mum. 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah, same, mate. Like, what?
Yaniv's
are
mum
we
in
saying-
court actually says that Yaniv had a period at 13 or 14 years old, despite it being in court documents that Yaniv has male genitals.
Are we saying at this point that they are intersex?
Well, Yaniv is not being clear at all.
It's just how they go straight from that to, did I like girl or boy clothes? Girl. It's like they're just moving on as if that's not some ridiculous thing that has just been said.
That's a really good point. It's like, oh yeah, played with Barbies. It's like mom is just like, oh yeah, like played with Barbies and clothes, wanted to be a princess. And Yaniv's like, yeah, mom, please, nobody cares about that. When did I have my first period?
It's in the middle of the mundane questions. Why is the mother playing along with this?
Here we go. So, liked girl or boy clothes? Girl. Toys? Girl. Outside the house? Boy or girl? Boy, because of the shaming.
You had a period!
Throughout life, have I had major abdominal cramping? Yes.
What?
Why is female gender ID a threat to other women? Parent says, doesn't see how it should be. It is how someone looks, their body parts. Yaniv comments about a deeply held bias against other women. It has been emotional harassment and discrimination beyond comprehension. It's causing her to leave Canada, and that's instead of taking her own life. Because Yaniv...
Like...
Can we just put this in context? So this is as a result of JY not having their genitals waxed. Mama is saying that it's causing her to leave Canada rather than taking her own life.
That always comes up in these sort of conversations. It's like they're doing these things instead of killing themselves. It's like
right. So they now want all the proceedings to be put together because it's too hard for mom to come to every single one. JY is very sick.
Putting it lightly.
Well,
JY has only slept 5 times in his own bed, has been to ER 9 times. Parent asks Yaniv, are you a human being right now? No, you are not. Sick JY is not JY.
What?
I then starts to criticize, going like Elsie's tweets, saying it's having a big impact. So it's had, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much impact has the harassment had? 11. Like, how important has it been having the publication ban? The parents should include their whole family, should include the family XXX. Like, but Yaniv talks about this kind of stuff very openly, so I don't.
Yeah, but she hates the attention.
She hates it. I can't help but feel a lot of this is a power play. Yaniv knows that they could try and push for this stuff, and it's a way of having control over the situation. They know that this is going to get mocked and criticized and ridiculed online, and so they want to be able to control who gets to talk about it and who doesn't. It's a power play, nothing but a power play.
Yep. Pretty disgusting as well.
It's absolutely shameful.
Yeah.
Like JY. So, bearing in mind that JY, liked all the girl stuff and was basically a girl growing up, apart from outside the house because of cruel judgment. JY came out in July, no year mentioned. Says JY told everyone before them. So despite the mum raising this child who was into female stuff growing up, and was probably very much aware at the time that, being bullied for being female, apparently having a diagnosis of gender identity disorder, mind you.
Yes, since 6.
JY told everyone that they were trans before mother. How does that work? How do you get a diagnosis of gender identity disorder without your parent finding out? How does your parent recognize that you're dressing as a girl and stuff as a kid, and it's just, in one July,
And knows what age you got your period.
yeah,
It's
like, oh my god, I had no idea that my child at the age of 13 or 14 who had a period, and also on top of that, if you had a biological male who had a period, you would remember that.
you'd hope.
Remember that. But
they're bad parents.
But this is spicy. Parent Yaniv is proud parent. She then misgenders JY several times. Calls him an XXX of the LGBT. Says directly to JY, "You became the XXX you always wanted to be." No one corrects her.
This is
if she said that on Twitter or YouTube or something, Yaniv would be banning their own mum. Amazing.
What the fuck?
So
but no one corrected her.
No. Jesus Christ. So just the fact that she's just gendered several times.
God. It's the fact we have to be careful as well not to misgender her. Her mum does it and no one corrects her. Like, what the fuck? You can't write this.
Yeah. So Mama Yaniv says, not racist, but I'm not racist, but that's basically it. So this is strange. So Parent Eve breaks off to say they think the tribunal shouldn't have let the father from the last case use a translator. Why did they agree? Their tax dollars paid for the translator, doesn't want their money going to the translator. You're in court. Oh my god. Oh, and apparently he should know English. Can't force. We're not racist, but we're about to go into a massive racially charged rant.
I understand wanting immigrants to understand the language of the country.
Absolutely, I completely get that. But when you go into
but when you're trying to, when you've said all the stuff you have said before about immigrants, and then you say that, it doesn't really help the case. Yeah,
I'm not racist, but don't spend money on translators, and they can't come over here and
I just be able to prosecute them without them understanding a word.
Yeah. So they're giving her a lot of leeway, but their racially charged rant is not relevant. More examples of in-person discrimination. Well, JY wanted eyelashes for an important legal appearance and was denied. The eyelash woman was on vacation.
At least she wasn't transphobic.
Okay, you were sitting with me at the dining room table, told me what to say when requesting wax services. So you sat down with your mum and was just like, "Mum, I want to get me nuts waxed." What?
Yeah, standard conversation I have with my mum.
Honestly, oh my god.
What do I Mother, what do I say to a woman if I want to get my ball sack waxed?
Obviously, I talked to my mum about when I had the gender reassignment surgery, but I never went into much detail about all of this.
You never asked her for waxing advice?
Come on.
I know, I never...
Go on, Rose.
Step your trans game up, holy shit.
Oh my god. So, Jesus Christ. So, okay, so there's denial of service, discrimination and backlash are a form of neo-Nazism. Say and the mum's like, "Why go there? Why go there?" Neo-Nazis use ideology trying to make British Columbia a neo-Nazi state. They take over an area like Hitler and make it their own. Canadians don't understand this stuff. Canada wasn't in World War II.
She's gone from why compare this to Nazis to this is basically Nazism.
Yeah, that's like
Within a sentence.
So we're calling the immigrants Nazis now.
They can't surely they realise Canada was involved in World War II. Well, actually, no, they probably don't. Wow.
No, they don't know that part of France is literally owned by Canada because of what the Canadians did to help with the war effort. This is good and bad in equal parts.
So they can't have a party for XXX because of XXX. No, I'm not really sure what that means. Here we go. And Yaniv like, "What's the impact been on me?" And her mum's like, "Enough already. I answered 1,000 times." Describe my personality. Wonderful, deeply loved, day by day, proud and applaud you. Wonderful person, a wonderful mission. And then misgenders him again. Oh, Christ. And then the member just stops the question, saying, like, be prepared. They've had a lot of leeway. Arguments and opinions and non-relevant information won't be allowed. If JY brings up online harassment, they're opening a can of worms. Is there a maximum threshold for costs about improper conduct? Judge says no. JY gives a little laugh and says okay. So JY is thinking like, I'm in the money here. So I think this kind of gets towards the end of this. Because I can't see much more after it. It kind of gets a bit broken up. But then they don't want to be questioned. Parent doesn't want to be questioned. JY wants to put up 2 upcoming cases together. Both have no respondents and are appearing. Both have no respondents appearing. Respondent 1 is out of business. So this is, I believe, this would be one of these ones. Mother and business owner forced to end Brazilian waxing after being taken to court.
Wow.
By that. So that's a good image to kind of end on. So the court case is still going to be ongoing for several days. Well, I think it should be the closing statements are going to be, I think they're next week. I know it's when I'm in Germany.
I was hoping you'd do a follow-up stream to this.
I will do. I will.
Oh my god.
I will. I will probably will do when the announcements are made. There we go.
Oh, please do. That was so bad.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah. So Alicia, I think that picture was from a one of the Langley town hall meetings that Yaniv often goes to wearing that prom dress. So yeah, we've had a lot of Yanivery on tonight. So I think this would probably be a good time to kind of end it. We don't want to get too bogged down by it all. It is absolutely insane. But first, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Special thanks to everyone who had provided in some super chats. They were very much appreciated. Yes, I did just say Yanivery. It's a good way of describing what went on.
It's the only way of describing what went on, to be honest.
I will probably do a follow-up thing to this. As a kind of just a quick announcement, I am working on a second Pillars of the Community, which I'm aiming to get out on Sunday, actually, because I've done a lot of work on it. That's going to be on Stefankny, who is another Canadian troon. But this time, Stefankny's story seems to have a definitive ending rather than just kind of going from batshit insane to batshit silent. I don't know.
That seems to be all you cover.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Which, I mean, a lot of this stuff needs to be covered.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this is kind of, well, that's it. I've kind of built my brand around it. You know,
unintentionally.
I mean, I remember when the inspiration I got to start my channel. It was the very first liberalist meetup, and I was chatting with Sargon, and he was.
I didn't know you were there.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were there.
were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh yeah,
I came all the
probably.
way from Manchester.
Yeah, I think like loads of people were there. Like I had to, so I chatted with Sargon several times, and
Yeah.
like I remember afterwards, he was just like came over to me and was kind of like, "Thank you for coming." I think this was still in his days of like optics are important, and it was kind of like the optics of a trans woman being there, whereas like now it's just fuck optics. But like I was like, oh yeah, I was only going to cover a couple of trans videos to kind of be a springboard because I thought this would be a good way of starting to talk about this stuff, and then the world happened, and it's just all of a sudden I'm like, all of this is too insane. Like this is what I've got to talk about because there's not many other people covering it, especially on YouTube and especially on the British side and especially from a trans perspective.
Yeah,
like, there is nobody talking about this.
Yeah, you definitely have a UPS for your channel.
Yeah,
really good.
That's true. I mean, the thing is, I never want to be seen as being like I don't want to be seen as a trans woman first and foremost. Like,
no, you can tell that from your videos, which is really good.
I want to make that clear to people.
Yeah.
Like, I do not consider myself like I do have transsexual in my description for Twitter. I just think that's kind of important to get a context of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On my day-to-day life, it doesn't pay much of an impact at all. But yeah, so
you don't start every sentence with "as a trans woman."
You certainly don't go to court over these sort of things either.
I don't think you're gonna say that. But yeah, anyway, like thank you both for coming on. I've been meaning to get you both on for a while actually.
Yeah, that's no problem.
And I think that this is the first. No, it isn't. No, because because I have had another show where I was the only stream where I was the only trans person on. That was the one with Mark, Dank, and Tail Feature.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but the next one, I do need to get more token tranners on. I'm
not getting surgery.
Well, lucky for you, you can just self-ID.
Yeah,
true.
That's all you can do. Anyway, thank you both for coming on. Thanks everyone for watching. If you do fancy joining the Discord, the link is in the description down below. If you also enjoy my work, you can support me on Patreon and Subscribestar, and I would really appreciate that. And you can also follow me on Twitter. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.
See ya.